Okay, y'all. Let's see. Let's check this out. My poop story.
Looking for a new home shouldn't be complicated. That's why we created Any House, with thousands of verified.
So this woman, let's call her Ducey. And Ducey has a problem. She's a little lonely. I mean, she's single, she's in her 20s, living in Bristol, England, and she wants to date. So one day she gets on Tinder and she's swiping around looking for a potential match. And that is when, boom, she matches with this guy, Liam. And she thinks Liam is fine. So Liam and Ducey, they chat a little, they connect, and soon they make plans to go out on a date. And so they go out on this date, and they end up meeting at this well-known chicken place, and they're having a good time, and at the end of the date, Liam and Ducey, they're really feeling each other. So he invites her back to his place to watch a movie, and maybe, I don't know, maybe smash a little, I don't know. And she's like, all right. And so they go back to Liam's place, and he opens a bottle of wine, and they chill, and they start watching a movie. And so far, everything seems to be going great. But then, about an hour in, Ducey gets an uncomfortable feeling in her stomach. So she's like, yeah, I'm going to hit up the bathroom real quick. And so Ducey gets up to go to the bathroom, and she goes in there, and she ends up dropping a whole ass deuce in Liam's toilet. But whatever, at least she finally feels better, and she can get back to her date. Until
The toilet doesn't
when Ducey's
flush.
done using the toilet, she goes to flush, and the toilet won't flush. I guess she clogged it. And so she low-key panics. I mean, this date is
That's why you always have the courtesy flush.
going well, and she stopped up his toilet. What is he going to think? This is going to ruin the whole date. And she doesn't know what to do. But then she notices the bathroom window, and she gets an idea. She's like, what if I just scoop it out of the toilet and throw it out the window?
Oh, no.
And so that's what she does. Ducey reaches down into the toilet bowl, and she grabs her turd, wraps it up in toilet paper, and she quickly throws it out the window. Here's the thing about this window, though. This isn't no regular window. It's actually a double window with multiple panes of glass. So her turd flies through the first window, but then it's stopped by the glass on the second window. And it slides all the way down, and it falls into a crack between
that is a
both
poop
windows.
story.
And of course, Ducey starts freaking out. She's like, what the fuck? She didn't realize the window doesn't open to the outside. So now her poop is in plain sight at the bottom of this double window situation. Here's actually what the inside of the window gap normally looks like. So now her turd would be resting way deep down in this crack here. And so Ducey's like, oh, bloody hell. Now what's she gonna do? She can't just leave it there in between these two windows. I mean, Liam will eventually see it or smell it. And
how long she got in the bathroom while all this is going on, though? Damn.
so she decides the best thing to do is to tell him the truth. And so she
She should have been said that when she pooped in the toilet and the shit don't flush. Motherfucker, why your shit don't flush?
leaves the bathroom, and I assume she washed her hands, but she leaves the bathroom, she goes to Liam, who is still on the couch, and she tells him exactly what happened. It's like, I dropped a load in your toilet, and I accidentally clogged it up, and I tried to scoop it out and throw it out the window, but I didn't know you have a double window, and the poop slid down and got stuck between the cracks, and I don't know how to get it out. And Liam, he seems like, no, and the poop slid down and got stuck between the cracks.
The poop slid down and got stuck in between the crack. All right, I'm gonna leave you to think about it.
And I don't know how to get it out. And Liam, he seems like a nice guy, and he doesn't want to make her feel bad about it, so he's like, no worries, we'll just fish it out and throw it in the bin, no problem. But now they have to access the window gap by going outside and opening the window from the outside. So they go outside, and that is when they discover the outside window is completely sealed shut. Like, it doesn't open at all. So Ducey's turd, wrapped in toilet paper, is trapped, and it's on display for anyone walking by to see.
Oh
Here's
my
actually
God.
a photo of it, and if you zoom in, you can kind of see it right there, wrapped in toilet paper.
The poop.
And so Liam's like, okay, no big deal. I'll just break the window, and we'll get the dookie out that way. But no, Ducey actually has a better idea. She just happens to be an amateur gymnast. No, like, really. She's an amateur gymnast. and she thinks maybe she can climb up and reach down and grab it out somehow. So she and Liam, they go back to his bathroom, and she climbs up and puts her head and shoulders into the shaft, and she tries, but she can't quite reach the poop. So then Liam gives her a little boost, and he's holding her legs as she dives deeper down to the bottom, and there she finally grabs it, and she passes it up to Liam, and
she finally got the poop from the crack.
Gets it, and he throws it away. Boom. Problem solved. Everyone's happy. Until, again, when Ducey moves to get out of the crevice, she's unfortunately stuck upside down. Like literally upside down. And Liam, he tries to help her, but he can't get her out. Like she is seriously stuck in there. So to top off this first date that's clearly going so well, Liam has to call the fire department. So Liam calls the fire department and he's like, my date got stuck in the shaft trying to get out her phone. Then, sometime later, a whole ass fire brigade shows up, and they all have to cram in the bathroom so that they can rescue Ducey, and this is an actual photo of all of them doing that. And if you think that's embarrassing, someone actually took a picture of her stuck in the window. Now, lucky for her, the firemen do fish her out, and she's physically okay, although this might be the worst first date story I've ever heard. And in case you were wondering, like I said, Liam's a nice guy, and he and Ducey did end up going out a couple more times on a couple more dates, but ultimately they weren't a match, and they did not end up together.
Man?
Wow, dumbest story we've ever done.
At Coding for Kids, your child will learn Python step by step by playing an exciting game that makes mastering.
Have you ever seen the movie Up and wondered, could someone really fly with a bunch of balloons like that? Well, this guy is about to find out. Now, his name's Larry, and Larry's 33, and he's a little nutty. Now, his name's Larry, and Larry's 33, and he's a little nutty. But he has a big dream. He really wants to fly. And one day, he gets an idea of just how to do it.
Hold on. How old is Larry again?
And he's is about to find out. Now, his name's Larry, and Larry's 33.
Okay, all right.
And he...
3 or 33?
He's a little nutty. But he has a big dream. He really wants to fly. And one day, he gets an idea of just how to do it. He's going to tie a bunch of balloons to a lawn chair, and he'll fly that way. And he becomes obsessed with this idea, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to make his dream come true. So he gets help from his girlfriend, this woman, Carol. And so Carol purchases 45 8-foot weather balloons, helium tanks, and other things that he needs to make his lawn chair into an aircraft. And she lets Larry use her backyard for launch. So she's all in. And so Larry, he goes and he attaches the balloons to his lawn chair, and he packs up a few things he'll need, like a pellet gun, a bottle of soda, a two-way radio, and some milk jugs full of water. And his girlfriend Carol is watching, and Larry's friend Ron plans to film the whole thing. So here's Larry's full plan. First, he's going to tether his chair to the bumper of a car. Then, before he takes off, he'll notify the FAA and local airports so that he doesn't get hit by an airplane. And once his chair rises to 100 feet, his friends will then untether him, and the winds will, in theory, carry him about 250 miles, flying from the San Pedro neighborhood all the way to the Mojave Desert. And once he gets to the Mojave, he'll shoot some of the balloons with his pellet gun, and this will slowly lower his chair until he can land safely in the desert. And after he does all that, he will not only...
I think I saw an episode of that cartoon. The Looney Tunes.
Have achieved...
I think Looney Tunes, one of the Looney Tunes did it. It was the Tex Avery one.
His dream, but he'll be renowned for his ingenuity, being the first person to ever fly with balloons attached to a lawn chair. And everyone will celebrate him as a hero, and he'll be so famous.
Yeah.
Perfect plan. What could possibly go wrong? And so Larry gets in his chair, and he's ready for liftoff. Now, Larry go wrong.
That, bro.
And so Larry gets in his chair, and he's ready for liftoff. Now, Larry doesn't strap himself in. Oh, no, I guess he doesn't believe he could possibly fall. But anyway, suddenly, pow, a strong gust of wind blows in and it hits him, and the tether
my
attached to his
God.
chair snaps like a gunshot.
Oh my
And Larry
God.
flies straight up into the air, and his
Oh my
chair
God.
keeps rising higher and higher
bro.
and higher, way faster than any of them had anticipated,
Parachute?
rising around 1,000 feet per minute.
I mean,
1,000 feet
Oh
per
my
minute.
God.
Now, to put that into perspective, the top floor of the Empire State Building is about 1,250 feet tall.
Oh
So
my
his chair
God.
is
Oh my
rising
God.
almost an entire Empire
Oh,
State Building per
Jesus
minute.
Christ.
Meanwhile, down on the ground, Carol and Ron are in panic mode.
No,
None of them
claro.
expected his chair to
Oh.
go that high that quickly. Not to mention, Larry didn't notify the local airports. His chair took off before he got the opportunity to. So he's very much in danger of getting hit by a plane. Regardless, he isn't ready to give up. He's determined to achieve his dream. And that is when two commercial airliners fly near, and the pilots can't believe what they see. And at least one of them radios to air traffic control, and they're like, there's some weirdo out here flying in a chair holding a pew-pew. And so a helicopter is dispatched to go investigate. While Carol is still down on the ground, and she's freaking out. She's
Yo,
talking to
this
Larry
is
through his
crazy,
two-way
yo.
radio,
Get
and
outta
she's
here.
like, that's enough. It's time to come down.
I would've been-
But
I
no,
would've
Larry
been came
keeps
down.
rising
Damn,
higher
Larry.
and higher.
Why,
And now
Larry?
he's up around 16,000 feet
Oh,
high,
Jesus
which is roughly half as high as your commercial airliner would fly. So he's way up there.
Oh my
It's
God.
also really fucking cold at that altitude, about 2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yo,
So his
son.
feet start to become numb from the
my
cold, and he's
God,
struggling
Larry.
to breathe because the air is so thin. And if Larry goes any higher, he'll probably run out of oxygen and die. Here's the thing though. As I said, he was never supposed to go this high. And if he pops any balloons at this height, it could throw his chair off balance and he could fall overboard. But he's got no other options. He
You don't
has
got
to
a
take the
parachute?
risk before he passes out
Damn,
from lack
bro.
of oxygen. So he grabs his pellet gun and he aims it, and pop, pop, he starts shooting the balloons one by one. When suddenly, oops, his chair tips and the pellet gun slips out of his hand and it falls overboard down to the ground. So now what's he gonna do? Well, luckily, he shot enough balloons that the chair
Yo,
slowly
son.
starts to
Larry.
sink, and his altitude gets lower and lower and lower.
Yo,
And when his
son.
chair sinks low enough, he looks up and he notices he's now headed straight for some power lines.
Ay, mi
Man, this guy
madre.
can't catch a break.
For real,
And then,
for real.
pow, he and his chair slam into the power lines, breaking them. And this causes a whole ass blackout for the neighborhood below. But luckily, he doesn't get electrocuted. He actually
Wow.
survives, and he finally drops down to the
Wow,
ground.
Larry.
And in total, he only made it about 10 miles from where he started. And there, on the ground, he isn't renowned for his ingenuity or celebrated as
Nah,
a
he
hero.
locked up.
Instead, he's treated as a guy who just committed a bunch of airspace violations.
He
And
did.
so, bam, police arrest him. And they eventually do drop the charges against
Hey,
him,
look at Larry.
but it's not over. Because Larry's story is so absurd that it blows up and everyone is talking about it. It's all over the news. People start calling him Lawnchair Larry. And he even gets invited on the David Letterman
Get
show.
outta
Please
here.
welcome Larry Walters.
And Larry's flight later inspires a whole ass movie called Danny Deckchair. But anyway, ultimately,
Danny
Larry
Deckchair.
does make history as his lawn chair gets donated to the Smithsonian Museum, where to this day it is still on display.
Well,
And to be
Larry.
fair, even though he almost died, he did achieve his dream.
Now, how does that feel, having succeeded in achieving what you always wanted
I
to do?
achieved inner peace. I've achieved inner peace within myself.
Really?
I'm a happier person today.
And 10 years later, Larry unfortunately shot himself and he died. And a huge shout out to Leonardo.ai for sponsoring this video. If you want to make really cool art for your videos or just for your life, like this or like this, then sign up for Leonardo.ai.